Hey folks, welcome to this episode of Road Hard Restorations. On this video, I'm going to show you how to properly put an engine on an engine stand. Alright, we got the clutch off of there. I'll set him aside. Save all the hardware. Pilot bushing just fell right out of the back of the crank. One of the things you want to do is you want to make sure you have at least grade A hardware, and obviously the size that fits your engine block. You can always check how far in they go, make sure you have enough engagement. Alright, next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and take this flywheel off. Alright, when I'm setting these up on an engine stand, I like to mount this to the engine first, and then you just slide this into the stand, and it's just a little easier for me to do it that way. So these can adjust diagonally in and out, up and down, whereas the bottom two are just horizontal. So you just kind of got to pick what's going to work best for your engine. When I'm doing with this with the heads and intake on it, I try to have this shaft here in line with kind of the center, kind of right about where, just below the cam. Kind of get the center of gravity right in the center, naturally. That way when you turn it over, the weight's not pushing way too far to one side or the other, wanting to flip over on you. So I try to keep it center as neutral, as balanced as possible. One of the other things you want to keep in mind is when you're picking your bolts, you want to make sure you have enough thread engagement. So when you run it through here, usually the head is not much bigger than the hole in the stand here. So you want to make sure you use a nice good flat washer on there. And then once you drive it through, you want to make sure you have enough engagement here. You know, you don't want it just sticking out just a little bit, you want it to go all the way out. So then sometimes you can mark it there and say, okay, or you count your threads. You figure out exactly how much you need or how much you have available, and then thread it in the block. And when you thread it in the block, you can see how far it goes into the block, because if it bottoms out, then by the time you put that on there, your washer's loose and it's not really tight on there. And you have to stack a bunch of washers or use a shorter bolt. So this will drive almost to the end of the threads with only like 2 or 3 threads showing, at least in this position. The other holes may be different. So when I run this through my arm here, or I can run it out like this, I can kind of eyeball it and see, well, I got 2 or 3 threads there, so I may need another washer. And when I put that on there, I can kind of see got plenty of thread engagement, and I have like maybe 5 or 6 threads in there now instead of just 2 or 3. That way when I'm tightening it up, I know I'm tightening this up against the block, not just bottoming out the bolt and having this being actually loose on the engine. So sometimes you have to do a little experimenting with the positioning of the arms to get it where you want it, so this has like a good balance and have everything be able to reach. So, set this on my leg here so I can kind of better idea of where I'm at. These two can go here, and this one can go out here to that guy, if the filter's not in the way, and this one can go out to that side. Okay, I think that'll work. Okay, so these bottom 2 aren't threaded holes, so I'm going to need a nut with another washer on the back side. So these bolts may or may not work. And back there too short, because it's got to go all the way through the casket. That one works. I need one that's longer. Go with the bolt that's just a little bit longer. And you got plenty of room on the back side. Put this nut on here. We're all set. This is just up a little bit from the center line of the crank. So I want it up a little bit higher. Otherwise the engine's gonna be way top heavy trying to flip it over. So I'm going ahead and lift this all the way up like that. That'll certainly help. I may turn this whole unit over, this piece here, so that way I can get it up a little higher. I'm not really tightening these up yet, so I get everything in, get this where I want it. It does not look like it made much difference. And I think that might just have to go that way once I stuck the arms way out here and had them going down. But then all of it's right here. I'd rather have it spread out this way. Also want to make sure it's centered with the crank too. Now these two, I should be able to tighten these up. Alright, so one of the challenges with this particular engine stand and engine hoist combination is that the legs interfere with each other. So you'll see I'll have to hang the engine up, hook the legs to the engine in the air, and then as I'm letting it down, I'll be using my foot to get it to go over the legs, because as you see, they'll interfere with each other. Alright, one of the things I forgot I could do that helps a little bit is extend the boom out to the farthest setting. Gives me a little more clearance down here, but this is always tricky. Got the pin in there. Looks like all four wheels are on the ground now. All right, that's how it's done. All right, let's bring you in a little closer here. As you can see, I'm using all grade 8 hardware. This chain here is actually from one of those crank levelers, which I do have one. I'm just not using it on just an engine. They come in handy though when you're trying to stab a transmission in, especially by yourself. Usually I just use one chain, but I decided I got 2 of them and I got 4 bolts. Might as well just crisscross them. Helps keep things a little more secure. And if one chain should stretch or break, the other one should hopefully catch it long enough for you to get your hand out of the way. Got the engine securely on the engine stand. Hope this video had some tips that were helpful for you. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave them down below. And be sure to share, like, and subscribe. And we'll see you on the next one.